Just one follow-up on tariffs and then one not. Is the president at all considering extending the August 12th China deadline at all? Is that in consideration?
So look, on China, you heard from the president on Air Force One when we were returning from Scotland. You've heard from the Treasury Secretary as well, Ambassador Jameson Greer. They just spent 2 days in Geneva for their third round of talks with China. And the current policy, the current trade program that we have going with China right now, as it stands, will decrease our deficit by $5 billion this year. So we are moving in the right direction when it comes to China. And Secretary Besson and Ambassador Greer continue to be in direct communication with our Chinese counterparts.
But is the deadline, is it extension on the table potentially from the August 12th deadline as it stands?
I don't think so, but I'll let the Secretary of Treasury speak on that because he's leading these negotiations. Reagan, go ahead.
Thanks, Carolyn. There's growing frustration that more of Trump's nominees haven't been confirmed. Why does the president think Senate Republicans are so behind, and has he had any further conversations with Leader Thune about it?
The president has had many conversations with his friends in the United States Senate about advancing his nominees, his judicial nominees, through this process. It is critical that we get these good attorneys in these positions so that we can end the weaponization of justice, so we can have true law and order in our country. It's unfortunate the Democrats are playing political games, but the president has made it clear to Senate Republicans they need to do everything in their power to advance the president's nominees as well. Kelly, go ahead.
Caroline, thank you. 2 questions real quickly.
Sure.
Nigeria. Congressman Chris Smith, Republican from New Jersey, is calling upon the President of the United States to do something in terms of imposing perhaps sanctions on Nigeria for the persecution of Christians living in the northern part of Nigeria by radical Islamic groups. Has he contacted the President yet? And do you know if there's any action that the President will take?
I'm not tracking a call between the president and the head of Nigeria. I know the president wholeheartedly condemns the persecution of Christians, or frankly of people of any faith all over the world, but I don't have any updates for you in terms of sanctions in this part of the world.
My second question, Caroline, deals with immigration here in America. As you know, a lot of deportation has been going on. ICE has been going after violent criminals that are here illegally, and rightly so. In the midst of that, there are some evangelical pastors who are stating that it may have gone to a point of being indiscriminate and actually getting innocent people, like members of the clergy. Has the president and has ICE looked at that to see how they can actually go after those violent criminals, but also make sure that members of the clergy are still not being deported?
Well, look, the administration has always maintained the position that anyone who illegally crosses our nation's borders is subject to deportation. That's just the law of the land, and we must be a nation that enforces our laws. But the priority from ICE, of course, is to deport, detain, arrest, and remove violent illegal aliens and criminals from our country. And they have been doing that at the rate of thousands of illegal violent criminals every single week, especially in Democrat-run sanctuary cities where these illegal violent criminals have been given a safe haven and have essentially been immune from our nation's laws under the previous administration. That's not happening anymore because of this president and Secretary Noem in the Department of Homeland Security, and we are going to be a nation of laws. And as we've said repeatedly, if you came here illegally, you are subject to deportation, but the priority are those public safety threats that we must remove from our communities.
Thank you so much, Caroline. 2 questions. So what Hamas hardens its position and Israel provides aid? Do you have any new information on the hostages that need aid too? And second question, we heard President Trump criticize President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer for their statement about recognizing a Palestinian state. What is the president's position on recognizing a Palestinian state, and will he recognize Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria?
I can answer both of those questions for you. On the second question about a Palestinian state, the president expressed his displeasure and his disagreement with the leaders of France, the United Kingdom, and Canada. He feels as though that's rewarding Hamas at a time where Hamas is the true impediment to a ceasefire and to the release of all of the hostages. So to your first question, the president wants to see all of the hostages released. He cares deeply about this. He has met with many of the former hostages, many of the families of those those who have loved ones who are still being held hostage in Gaza. I have met with them too. It is absolutely devastating what these poor people have been through, and the president is always thinking about them, and that's why he's designated his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, who's doing a tremendous job to release the hostages and to end this conflict. But the president has always said the last remaining hostages, now there are 20 living hostages in Gaza, will always be the hardest because Hamas is unfortunately using these innocent people as bargaining chips. But nevertheless, we are committed to seeing this come to an end. Elizabeth.
Thanks, Caroline. Part of the settlement with Brown prohibits it from performing transgender procedures or prescribing hormone, puberty blockers, that type of thing. Will eliminating these types of procedures be a priority for the Trump administration in negotiations with other universities?
I can tell you that ending the chemical castration of children in our country is a priority of this administration. We've talked to many of these universities about it, but the president has also taken very strong action to cut off the funding for any medical institution in this country that provides those barbaric procedures. The Brown University agreement, since you brought it up, is yet another win to root out anti-Semitic behavior on our nation's college campuses and unlawful racial discrimination. Brown has agreed to no longer allow unlawful racial discrimination in admissions or university programming. They have agreed to provide access to all relevant data and information to rigorously assess compliance with its commitment to merit-based admissions, and they will pay $50 million over 10 years to state workforce development organizations that comply with anti-discrimination laws, supporting regional economic growth and career opportunities. Brown will also adopt the definitions of male and female from President Trump's executive order, defending women and gender ideology extremism for women's sports, programming, facilities, and housing. Brown will no longer perform gender reassignment surgeries on minors or prescribe them puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones. And Brown will take steps to improve the campus climate for Jewish students and combat anti-Semitism on their campus. This is yet another huge win for American students and for those who love our country and want to abide by our country's laws. On the topic of defending women from gender ideology extremism and helping women's sports, the president will be signing an executive order at 4 o'clock today with some very famous professional athletes whom I'm sure you all know. And that executive order will be focused on strengthening athletics in our country and making America healthy again. And we are going to re-implement the presidential fitness test in America's schools, which is, I think, something all Americans can get behind. So you'll hear from the president in 2 hours, and we will see you all there. Thank you.